You are listening to the Ozarks Best right here on News Talk 107.1 The Point. My name is Cooper, and we are going to be speaking with Lauren Gray. She's from Hardy, Arkansas, and has been known as the voice of Spring River Rally. She's participated in a band with her father doing weddings, and last year she performed on American Idol, and she performed the song One and Only.
Said if you've been on my mind, I grow fonder every day, lose myself in time.
Wow.
And I must say, she got all three judges to say yes, moved on there, and just shy from making the top 24. She has been on Idol doing other concerts, various things taking place. Lauren Gray, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me in here on a day you might not have had to come in. So thank you for having me.
No problem.
That's great. It's my pleasure. Like I told you, I'm not... I always tell people when I do this that I'm not like the best speaker, and I get all tongue-tied when I talk to people, and I should just stick to singing. So if I get tongue-tied, y'all just bear with me.
So singing in a journey, yes. American Idol, is this something you always saw yourself doing?
It is, actually. When I was just 15 or 16 years old, I think I just barely turned 16. I was going to go try out, and it was the year of Hurricane Katrina, and I had already did the preliminary things, like I had printed out the paperwork and filled out my paperwork. At that point, you could do that, and we had already got everything ready, the vehicles ready, packed down, and we were actually on the way there, and my uncle, who does tree work and things, he was in Memphis at the time, and he called and said, you might not want to come here, they're canceling it, which the auditions were being held in Memphis that year. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, all the Hurricane Katrina victims have moved into the FedEx Forum, so they've canceled it right now in Memphis. So at that point, it kind of bummed me, but then I realized that it was kind of a meant-to-be thing. I was way too young. I wasn't ready. It is a tough thing there, and you have to be mentally prepared. At 16, I just really don't think I was, and vocally prepared either. I had a lot of experience since I was 16. I really started, after that point, and getting involved with my dad's band and other bands, and I had a lot of experience after that. So I was really kind of grateful. I didn't know if I would ever do it again, but people really started complimenting me this last year or so, and why don't you go do this? Why don't you? And I thought I'll give it a shot again. I did, and I didn't know what to expect at all.
It's a stepping stone.
It is.
And you say, like you said before, music has always been something in your heart you want to do and you want to pursue.
It is. It has always been my dream. When I was just little bitty, they said I was singing before I was talking. So, most of my home videos are me singing with a guitar and a microphone, little play. That honestly, that was when I was. That was what my dad was. So I kind of looked at him like an idol and wanted to be like him. All I ever seen was him. When I was young, I thought my dad was Bob Seger, because he has that kind of a voice. And when I heard Bob Seger on the radio and I knew my dad sang Bob Seger songs, to me, my dad was Bob Seger. So I would tell people, that's my dad. He's Bob Seger on the radio.
I thought my dad was Hulk Hogan at one point in time.
Exactly. So. Everybody has that thing. But yeah, I did kind of follow in his footsteps, and I always wanted to do this. And I just never really gave myself the credit I should have, or never had the nerve until this last year. And like I said, it was a kind of a meant to be thing that I did wait. And it was a blessing. There are, like I told you before, there are preliminary rounds before you get to J-Lo and Steven Tyler. Well, now it's new judges, but getting through the first one was a big deal to me. I didn't know I was going to have to go through all those rounds. When I got there, I thought I was just going to go see Steven Tyler, with 15,000 people in this stadium with me. I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to see him today. No, that isn't how it works. They have to cut you down big time. Mm-hmm. So each time they probably cut at least half. I'd say more. That first cut, I think they probably only kept about 1,000. Second cut, there was about 500. Third cut, there was about half of that, 250. And then that fourth cut, there was maybe 50 or 60 of us that made it from St. Louis to Hollywood.
Now, is this a lot of strain on your voice as you're going through each of these rounds?
It is, in a way. I was fortunate with the St. Louis, the way they had it set up. The St. Louis rounds were all very spread apart. Some of them weren't, like the one that got added at the end was New Jersey, I think. and they had all their auditions really quick in a row. So that probably was more straining for them. But no, I had like a month or at least 2 weeks in between each audition. So I had plenty of time to rest. But after I got there, that was when it became a vocal challenge, because you had to, just from getting sick. That was what it was. You know, everybody was sick, or just from traveling, the airplanes, the difference in your altitudes and things, whatever, your weather, it really made a difference. So I was lucky.
From Hardy, Arkansas, getting a chance to go to L.A., perform in front of the judges, doing that's just kind of getting your feet wet, because now we're seeing Lauren Gray as Lauren Gray, getting to perform as who she is. And so from Hardy, Arkansas, you were doing weddings prior to this?
That's kind of what they made it sound like, but no, I did plenty of other things. I've been, like I said, I've been performing with my dad since I was about 17. Now that I'm of age, I play local bars and stuff. I'm trying to wean off of them now, just do bigger shows and maybe get out and do things outside of the state. But yeah, when I first started, it was local gigs, and then when I got old enough to be in the bars, it was bar gigs or weddings or just whatever came up. I've been singing every weekend for 5 or 6 years now, I'd say. So
so you're very busy. Yeah,
I was very busy, and I was gaining experience all that time, and it was a different kind of experience. It wasn't TV experience, so that was definitely something going into that. You know, I musically in a band, as far as performing, I felt like I was a little more experienced than some there, but some were also more experienced in TV than I was.
So who do you look up to from the time you loved music to now? Who do you really look up to in the music industry?
Oh, goodness. I have several. And I want to call them influences, because anybody that I've listened to my whole life, I just want to call it an influence of who I am today and how I sing. So I really started liking, when I was real young, I liked country music. And I still do. I love country music. But so I started out liking like the Judds and Tanya Tucker, people with, maybe a little raspy of country voice too. Bonnie Raitt, people like that. And then when I got a little older, I started listening to every kind of music, rock, blues, R&B. I really started liking Joss Stone and Johnny Lang. Those are my biggest influences, I say. To everybody, when I sing their songs, some of their songs. I like to cover them. I'd say Adele's the big influence. Just in the last few years, she's been a big influence in my life. And I'm so glad she came out with that song, One and Only, because it's gotten me very far in life in the last year. But I love the old Motown stuff. That's probably my most favorite kind of music. I just really like that soul music. Just really good for you.
Coming up, you'll be able to make a record, an album. What are you looking at making the genre of? You'll soon be out of American Idol contract, but what are we going to see from Lauren Gray? Is it going to be country? Is it going to be R&B? Is it going to be jazz? Is it going to be Southern rock? What are we going to see from you?
For the most part of it, I almost want to call it something different. It's almost a mixture of all that for me. We do have some that are kind of more bluesy, rocky song. Like my dad wrote it, and it's and actually has a country twist to it, I think. So I don't know, but the rest of them are more laid back R&B, or like a mixture of R&B and soul, and maybe even gospel. Yeah, gospel. Some of it sounds gospel. There's a lot of horns and pianos in there. My dad plays a lot of the guitar so far. It's just really cool, because I've not been able to really put a label on it yet as far as what I think the genre is, because there's a few different types of things. There's some that sound more contemporary too, but it's really cool, because I think that's neat in an album, if you got different things.
Out of the TV experiences, Idol, meeting with Ellen, the interviews that you've done, what has been the most memorable moment out of your career so far?
Good question. I don't know. I almost have to say it's on Ellen, which I really, really, really enjoyed doing the Ellen show. My dad will tell you that he thinks that I was more excited about going to Ellen than I was about going to Idol. But of course, I wasn't competing on Ellen. I was just going to perform. So that was great. Whenever I got the call, I had been sent home. I think about 2 or 3 weeks later, they were going to be showing me sent home. So I had to spend like 2 or 3 weeks at home, not telling anybody. Like everybody asked me, hey, why are you here? So I got that call in the middle of that time. I was kind of getting, like not depressed or sad, but I was just kind of getting a little bummed out, I should say. And Ellen, they called me, and so it just lit my world up whenever they said, will you come be on the show? Of course I'll come be on your show. That was great. The one thing I asked or like I told my dad, the one thing I prayed for was out of everything, just maybe if I could ever be on Ellen's show, you know, and it happened. So it's kind of a dream come true. And, but let me get to the point here. The best part, I think, was before I got to meet Ellen, I got in there in the studio. I had like 5 or 10 minutes to practice with my piano guy. And I was singing Stand By Me, which is something that I didn't know. I didn't know what I was going to be singing until I got there. So it's kind of rough. I only had just a few minutes to practice. There was a few people in there. They had maybe a camera, you know, like getting everything tested out and my vocals tested out and the mics in the room tested out. And so I was singing my song. They're like, okay, just sing it through. And I closed my eyes, which I do a lot. I like to, you know, if you're really getting into the song or really feeling it, close your eyes. And I'm singing Stand By Me, you know, Stand By Me. And I look over and I open my eyes and Ellen is standing right beside me. And it just kind of scared me because I didn't know she was standing right there. And I, you know, she saw that I was startled and she's like, what? You said Stand By Me? Which I thought was great. And I like to tell that story a lot too. So people out there might have heard that. But that is probably my favorite thing that's happened. It was pretty neat.
Coming from a small town, Hardy, Arkansas, some people have no idea what is in Hardy, Arkansas. Yeah. Getting a chance to do this, I think, is definitely getting your feet wet. Right. But there's more to come from Lauren Gray.
Right, absolutely. There's the album that I'm working on, which is going well. August 21st, I believe, is the date that I'm released off contract, where I can do whatever I want, which hopefully I'll be maybe signing a manager or maybe signing a record deal, hopefully. We're shooting for the moon, really. I really am. If it doesn't work, then at least I know I tried. You know what I'm saying? I will try my hardest, and that's what we've been doing so far. I feel like it's going to be good.
Coming up August 18th, we're speaking of a CASA benefit that will be taking place here in West Plains. It's the court-appointed special advocate of the 37th Judicial System, which is the CASA benefit. This will be at the Civic Center on that Saturday night. And you're going to be one of the performers there, along with Rochelle Lamb and a couple other performers. I do believe Ali Hutzel will be there at 6 p.m. Tickets are only $15. So if people want to get to know you and kind of hear you perform, hear the voice that they heard on American Idol and how Steven Tyler fell in love with you. He called you a ray of sunshine. Do you look up to Steven Tyler?
He really, once I got to know him, he really reminded me of my dad. He really, really reminded me a lot of my dad. So, you know, there was a time he even got emotional with me, cried with me, which you take those things in and you remember them. I'll always remember that. And it was awesome. Steven Tyler's awesome.
What are you planning on doing with your career? Do you want to stay in Arkansas? Or are you planning on moving if that's what is required of you?
Well, I always say that I always want to keep Arkansas as my home. I would see myself maybe going off into maybe California or New York or wherever to pursue my album, but I always want to come back to Arkansas. You know, that to be my base, my root, my home. To me, I've been all around the world. There's nothing more beautiful than the Spring River in Arkansas. To me, it's just my home. So of course I feel that way.
Yeah, you can't uproot a homegrown girl, can you?
Right. No, you can't.
We're going to be hearing from you on August 18th. There's a couple other places that you'll be at. I want to ask you one last question.
Okay.
Don't want to throw you a curveball, but I might do this.
Okay.
Did your dad have to perform a tracheostomy on you when you were young?
He did, but he didn't have to actually puncture. He used his finger and a tool. I swallowed a small tic-tac-toe piece. X, I believe. Yeah, that's what my mom's in the background saying, an X. So you can just imagine. I was just a baby, and I was turning blue, and he knew there was no way that we lived 10 miles out of town, so he knew there was no way that somebody could get to me in time. So yeah, and he has giant fingers. His fingers are huge. I mean, I'm talking my fingers, his are 3 times the size of my fingers. His massive hands. I just don't understand how he got his fingers down my throat, you know, really. But yeah, it was a type of, he didn't have to actually puncture my outside of my throat. But yeah, he used a tool in his finger and did get the X out of my throat in time to save me.
So you have a family that truly loves you.
That's right.
Fans that truly love you.
Right.
We're going to be seeing more of Lauren Gray, hopefully, in the years to come.
That's right. You will be.
Again, August 18th is the CASA benefit here in West Plains. That's just one of many events. Then your contract with American Idol will be up then. And then you'll be getting an album. You'll be getting managers. You'll be all over the place.
Yes. I should mention, we will be opening for 38 Special October 6th. In Jonesboro. That's kind of a cool thing. It's a big show, so maybe and get some people out and see that. I think it'll be a big turnout. Just to get to hang out with those guys is cool. I just keep getting to meet awesome people, and it's a blessing. So
From the 38th Special Concert in October, the CASA Benefit here in West Plains in August, Children's Hospital in Tuckerman on September 22nd, ASU on August 22nd, in Jonesboro by the Baptist Collegiate Ministries, and Air for the Fair, Sharp County at Creekside, Loft, and Hardy on August 11th. Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you, Cooper, for having me.
You bet. The Ozarks Best News Talk, My 107.1 The Point.